Hi everybody, this is Lynn from Creative Concept Crafts with another bundle release this week, and we have square tissue boxes, which is what I'm going to be making today, or there's also an alternative rectangular tissue box. So they're all decorative. There's a choice of 3 designs in each one, plus a plain one if you wanted to do your own one. This particular one, I've cut all the pieces out. They're not quite square, so make sure that you get, there's a thin piece, a squarer piece, a thinner piece and a square piece. If you alternate and line them up, then you'll be okay. And this is the lid with its mat, and this is a reinforced lid on this one. On the rectangular one, unfortunately not, because it was too big that it wouldn't have fit onto the mat. That's the base pieces. There's one for the outer and one for the inner of the box. So again, there's reinforcement going in there. And we're going to talk you through. I've used this particular one is the Flourishes flower, and I'm going to add just one flower onto one of the panels at the front. You could add it to all of them if you wanted to. You could add it to the lid. It's entirely up to you, but that particular flower is from the Flourishes floral collection. So we're going to put the pieces together. You could use acetate here instead of a piece of card behind. I've gone round all the mats as usual on the edge of the scoreboard to give me a nice beveled edge. And I've used here my linen cardstock, and underneath the metallic is the rose gold. This is actually Crafter's Companion, and I've used these colours because they match my decor in the lounge. So you could gear this towards any of your colour scheme through your house, whether you use tissues in your bathroom, your bedroom, your lounge, whatever, and you can have everything matching. Because I'm using metallic card, I'm going to be using the silicone glue. So just going round the edge, and then I'm just going to add a little bit in the centre of the flower, just to tack it down so it's not loose underneath there on the side, because your box of tissues goes inside of this. And it's a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper, a little bit wider than the actual box. So if there's any slight variations in sizes of these boxes, I'm hoping I've covered all bases. Make sure you get the corners particularly burnished down. So we're just going to repeat with the other 3 pieces. Just going to speed up the video because we're just repeating what we've done in step 1. So there's 4 pieces in total. And the next step from there is to get the box together. So I'm just flipping over ready to glue and just flattening down so it makes it easier to attach one piece to the next. Now here I'm card on card. I'm just double checking that I haven't mixed up any of these pieces. So I can use the ordinary PVA glue. If anybody's wondering what on earth I'm using my bottles for my glue, I've possibly mentioned it before, but they're home hair dye bottles, and the little metal tip that you can see is a tip from a printer refill ink that you get, and it's my hubby actually just cut a piece off the end, so it's just a short tip rather than it being about 3 inches long, and they work perfectly. It doesn't matter how fine detail you need, they're absolutely perfect. And I never use anything but just ordinary PVA glue or the silicone glue. So there's no expensive glues used, and I haven't had any issues at all. So that's the last piece just being glued, making sure it's lined up top and bottom. And then I'm just flipping over and burnishing those lines well down. Now I would actually leave this just to dry for a couple of minutes before I actually try and glue the box together, but for the purposes of the video I'm just going to continue here. So the next step is to glue the final piece so that you've got the box cube shape formed. I'm going to pick this up so I can just make sure everything's lined up properly. Okay, so I'm just burnishing down the final tab, and that's the cube box shape formed. Just turning it, the base, the tab is for the bottom of the box here, and if you just do one over, one under, and just a little tiny dot of glue just in the corners, just hold it till you can get your base piece on. So just a little dot of glue, and then I'm just going to add some paper clips just to hold that for a few seconds. And again, at this point, I would actually leave it to just grab before attaching the bottom. But again, for the purposes of the video, I am just going to carry on. I would leave that for 3 or 4 minutes just to make sure that it's housed. So that's all in position. I really like this design. I've done the flourishes. I've also done starburst, and I can't remember what the other one is off the top of my head, but there'll be pictures at the end of the video and when I put them up on the site. So I'm just adding the base now, so it's just about 1/2 inch all the way around the outer part of the box, the piece. So just literally where the tab is where I'm gluing the base here. So I'm just removing the paper clips, and then we can just pop that down. Once you're happy with it and you've just got a little bit of a bite, you can turn the box over the other way and get your hands inside, or a tool just to push all those edges down. I'm using my score tool just to push down. And because of the being mats and layers, you don't actually need very heavyweight card here. Once you get the mats and layers in, everything's reinforced, so it's really quite a sturdy box, and tissues aren't heavy anyway. Now this is the inner base piece, so it's a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to glue the whole area. And then pop down inside. Once you get it into position again, give it a good burnish down. And with the exception of the flower, that's the base completed. The tissue box obviously sits inside of that. I could also see this as a gift box, not just for tissues. If you use the plain lid, which there is a plain version of this box, you could use it as a gift box, or you could leave that lid in, put some acetate, put some lights inside, and you've got a really pretty decorative box too, like a little night light. So again, just add in glue to the lid mat. All of the 3 different designs, and I think the 3 decorative ones have all got different shaped lids to go with the designs that I've created. And they've all got a slightly different design on the edge of the box as well. So like I said, this square one has got a reinforced lid, which the rectangular one doesn't have because of a size issue. It wouldn't have fit on the 12 by 12 mat. So we had to go with a single one. If you wanted, you could add extra pieces, just cut out those, the lid where the score line is. You could cut extra pieces that size and put them to the inside if you wanted to reinforce. So I'm just adding glue to the tabs here. And as always, lay it down flat on your table and you can get those angles square. I'm just folding down the reinforcement at the minute, just until they get the tabs stuck. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So just lining up, getting it to a right angle. Because of the reinforcement, they're just slightly more fiddly to get hold of, but once you get there, just hold it down and then you can fold over to just hold them with a paper clip. And again, at this stage, I would just give it a couple of minutes before continuing. But again, for the sake of the video, I'm going to be carrying on. These are the little decorative panels. So while it's drying, I'm just going to add the little wave that I've created to go. This is just a decorative piece around the sides of the lid. And you'll find that there's two pieces are slightly shorter than the others. Again, like I said, the box isn't quite square. So you'll find that the longer piece won't fit on the shorter side, obviously, so you'll know which is which. Just speeding up, just repeating the steps. This design kind of reminds me of the old Rick Rack braid. You can see there that two sides are longer than the others. That one, see, it won't fit, so to check, it's easy enough to see which is which. So I'm now going to take off the paper clips and glue down the reinforcement pieces for the lid. I'll just tip it on its side so I can get at the piece easily. So again, just burnishing down and just pop some paper clips to hold it for a couple of minutes. So again, I'm just speeding up because we're just repeating the same thing 3 more times. Just get in there and burnish down. So that's the lid completed. And like I said, I would leave that for a few minutes before I added the decorative panels for the sides. So again, it's just simple matting and layering. It's quite an easy design to do, is this, but I think it looks so sweet. And it's nice. I don't know about you, but I like pretty things around the house. And it's better than having just a plain old tissue box. And I'm sure we've all got tissue boxes sitting in the house. Don't know anybody who doesn't these days. And the final piece. Burnish down. And there's our lid. Just making sure everything's down, particularly in the corners. There's our box. Pop in the tissue box. And there's the lid. Now it's up to you, you could leave it at that if you don't have any flowers, but I'm sure you must have. But like I said, this particular one is come from the Flourishes. So I'm just going to add one of the Flourishes flowers. I think it's one of the bigger ones of the collection that I did. Those of you who've got the collection will know how to put this flower together, but I'm just going to do it anyway. There's just dots of glue, of hot glue, going on to every other of the inner points. Every other one. Just pop it over the top. And this actually reminds me of a lily pad, a lily flower. I'm sure somebody will come up with something from there, because it really does remind me of a lily, a water lily. And the inner part, just a little dot of hot glue in the centre. Just pop it down there. And I love dimension on my flowers, so I always give them plenty of shape. And I'm just going to add a gem into the centre of that. I actually use this flower collection to make a wall picture as well. Again, in the same colours as this box actually, and I've done a couple of pictures and they look really, really good. I just used a plain canvas, painted it with the metallic paint that we've got on one of our walls, on our feature wall, and they really do look good. And I'm just popping that over the top of one of the panels. And there's our tissue box. Hope you like it. Sure you'll enjoy creating it. That's all for now. Bye until the next time.